In this video, I want to give you my overall thoughts and impressions about WP E-Commerce as a shopping cart plugin. Let's look first at the pros. Well, it definitely has a large feature set right out of the box. It comes with a very comprehensive shopping cart setup without adding anything onto it, so that's very good. The US Postal shipping module is fantastic right out of the box. Again, you don't have to pay for it extra. And there's a UPS shipping module, so it's pretty handy for people in the United States in particular. It has per item shipping, which is great. A lot of people are going to be able to make use of that. And again, doesn't come with a lot of other plugins. The ability to edit all store files, they do make this very easy. Now, unfortunately, you really shouldn't have to edit those files necessarily, but the fact that you do have to or may want to, they make it very easy. So at least that's a very powerful element of its plugin. And the other thing I liked was product thumbnails update instantly. So if you change the sizing on thumbnails, that happens instantly in the program without having to either bring in another plugin to do it or without having to wait and resize everything in the future. So that was good. Those are some of the pros for that. On the negative side, it definitely is not a good-looking product right out of the box. In particular, there's no grid view. Remember, it showed all the products up and down, straight up and down, with no rows and columns. And that, to me, is a real weakness because it takes a lot to change the layout and the styling, okay? And not everybody's going to be able to do that. So the fact that it doesn't look great, looks a bit amateurish out of the box, is a real negative for me. Product entry screen, I thought it was very poorly laid out. You can move boxes around, as I showed you, and that's a nice feature of WordPress. But why set things up the way they did, I'm not totally sure. Again, a lot of people don't know they can move those boxes around, so they feel like they're stuck with this really poor layout. It's not nearly as plug and play as some other plugins, and this relates to what I said about the layout and styling. But just in general, it's not the sort of thing that you just plug it in, start adding products, and you're on your way. And that, to me, is a bit of a drawback. Proportional images don't work for thumbnails. They do work for the single product page, and that's great, but I'd like to see thumbnails to be proportional as well. They're always cropped, no matter what your setting is. And one of the drawbacks of WP E-Commerce, at least right now, and this is version 3.8.8.5, it's been transitioned from an older style to a new functionality, which is great. I mean, it's important. They're keeping up with what WordPress can do now compared with 5 years ago. But it means that it's a ship that's being rebuilt as it floats, so to speak. Right? So there's little problems here and there that are cropping up because it's being rebuilt as they go along. So it's important to rebuild it, obviously very important to rebuild it, but beware that there are some hiccups as they're rebuilding it. Nothing major, but little bits and pieces can crop up, and you see that in the forums when you look through the issues that people are having. All right? And finally, I want to take a look at the true cost of WP E-Commerce. Now, it's a free plugin, and it's great as a free plugin, but like all free plugins, there are costs to it. The first is you're going to need some help with styling the CSS and the templates. I mean, unless you're a designer already and you know how to do this stuff, I think you're going to want to hire somebody to help you with it. So we're looking at least $50. I mean, it depends how much you need to do, but it could be quite a bit more than that to get it to look the way you want. Now, you can get themes. I'm not saying there aren't themes that go with WP E-Commerce, and there's certainly those available. But typically, when you're putting it into an existing theme, you're going to need help making it fit with what you've got already. Like any plugin, you're probably going to want extra shipping modules, right, for certain countries. So I'd count on at least a couple of those, around $50. And we need that grid view. Now, there is a free plugin, and I showed you that in one of the videos. I'm not sure how well it works because it's very, very new. It does give you grid view without having to pay for it. But right now, the only really safe way for sure to do grid view is to buy the Gold Cart paid plugin. And it has a few other things as well. But grid view is the main one, having your products in rows and columns. That's $50 approximately. So we're looking at, at least a couple of $100 to get this up and running properly the way you want it. And like with other plugins, there is support costs. If you want one-on-one support, detailed support, you are going to have to pay for that as well. So it's a free plugin, but of course, not everything in life is free, so there are costs to it, just so you're aware of that anyway. So that's an overview of the WP e-commerce shopping cart plugin.